And man, Donkey Kong is a real tough series to pin down, I tell ya. I'm in a weird, I want to be optimistic, but I'm not optimistic at the same time, because it feels like the Donkey Kong series is at a similar impasse as it was post-2007, where it's like, there's no new games on the horizon. In fact, the latest Donkey Kong game is a port of the newest Donkey Kong game. Like, what a sad state of affairs that is, to have the new Donkey Kong game on Switch be the same new Donkey Kong game that was on Wii U. Granted, that's because Wii U, of course, but it's just upsetting that there couldn't have been a new Donkey Kong game on Switch. I would certainly have picked up a new Donkey Kong Country on Switch, or like an actual 3D game, or something of the like, but we don't have that. And, I think for the most part, yeah, we're gonna keep seeing Donkey Kong appear in Mario games. He was just in Mario Golf Super Rush. He was just in Mario Tennis Aces. He's in Mario Kart 8 and 8 Deluxe. He's even in Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle in the form of the DLC. But, as far as actual Donkey Kong-focused games, I have no idea what's going to happen, and that's a shame, because I feel like we should have confidence as fans of the Kong crew to know that, hey, there's going to be something happening for Donkey Kong in the future outside of Mario, even if it is something similar, even if it was like a reimagining of the arcade game or the arcade formula. Even that would be fine. I want to know that there's something happening for Donkey Kong, and at the moment, we don't know what that is. So, the future, I would say, for the Donkey Kong series isn't bright, but it isn't bleak. It's just kind of somewhere in that gray mystery zone, and, I want it to be somewhere other than that. So, we'll see what happens. I suppose, worst case scenario, it's kind of like the time period between Star Fox Command and Star Fox Zero. Almost like eerily similar, I would argue, because you had this not-so-great game come out, and then the series went dormant for a little bit, and it's a little bit different, I guess, because you had Donkey Kong Country Returns in the middle, whereas, that game was a huge success, but then Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is on the Wii U, and even though that was a great game, it was on the Wii U, not unlike how Star Fox Zero, even though that also wasn't considered to be an amazing game, was also just on the Wii U. So, I don't know. I want confidence in a new game. I really do. But I don't know how well Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze on Switch is selling. And even to that end, of course, Retro Studios right now is working on Metroid Prime 4, so they're certainly not open to work on a new Donkey Kong game, and I don't know if Nintendo just doesn't trust any other studio at the moment to work on a new Donkey Kong game. I don't know if they're just not confident that an internal development team could make a new Donkey Kong game, even though, of course, the team behind Super Mario Galaxy also made Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. Actually, I guess, I am wrong. There is one little beacon of hope for the Donkey Kong series right now, although it is in some ways a rumor, so take this with, not just a grain of salt, but with a rock salt lamp, so to speak. There has been a long-rumored Donkey Kong attraction coming to Super Nintendo World, so if there's anything that I think could put Donkey Kong back on the map, yeah, it's gonna be a theme park attraction, because that's pretty huge, even if it's just in the Japan world, Super Nintendo World, even if it doesn't come to Orlando, or, no, Orlando's Florida, or to Hollywood. I think the other location's in Hollywood. If it does come to there, yeah, certainly that would help the what's a good word for it? Not the prominence, but the appearance? No. I'm having a terrible time remembering words in this podcast. It's kind of frustrating. But, it would bring Donkey Kong back in some way, shape, or form to just, have an attraction at a massive theme park that thousands, if not millions of people go to every year. Maybe not so much right now, thanks to good old COVID-19 now turning into COVID-20 and 21. But I digress. So, Donkey Kong, weird place, but I have faith that, like I said, I brought up Star Fox as a good example. If Star Fox could get an entry, like after years and years and years and years, Donkey Kong is going to get an entry. Now, is F-Zero ever going to get a new game? I don't know. I would love if F-Zero got a new game, but that's not what we're talking about today. Sad. So let's talk about our last little bit here then. Let's talk about what should we do about the character switching mechanic in Donkey Kong 64. So this is kind of in the vein of like with my Zelda episode here, where it's like, how do you improve the CDI games? But instead, I just want to deep dive on this one specific topic here. So, Donkey Kong 64 had 5 characters that you could play as throughout the game. Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, Tiny Kong, Lanky Kong, and Chunky Kong. All of each had their own unique abilities, and they all had to collect their own unique bananas and their own unique banana coins. They were all color-coded to each Kong. Donkey Kong had yellow, Diddy had red, Lanky had blue, oh my goodness, Tiny had purple, and Chunky had green bananas, and they all had banana coins of those exact same colors. So frequently what you would do when you're wandering around a world in Donkey Kong 64, especially after you've unlocked all of the playable Kongs, is, you could be Donkey Kong, and you'll be running around, and you'll find, like, oh, here's a place where I have a challenge. And a bunch of bananas I can't collect. So you could be walking around, and you find a barrel with Donkey Kong's face plastered on it. If I remember correctly, those are the bonus barrels. And it's like, oh, here I am, and I'm going to go do this challenge. But now you have to remember, I need to come back here as Diddy Kong, because there's a bunch of red bananas around here. So then you go back there, so then you complete the challenge, or maybe you fail at it a couple of times, and then you have to backtrack all the way back to wherever the closest tag barrel was. So this is the way that Donkey Kong 64 chose to handle character switching. There were these barrels throughout each world that would let you switch Kongs, right? So, you would go in and you'd be like, okay, I know I need to do these things as Diddy, so I will go, instead of being Donkey Kong, I will now be Diddy Kong. So then Diddy Kong comes out, and then you go and do whatever you needed to do as Diddy. Problem with that was there are only so many tag barrels in a given world, so it could be that the tag barrel is way out of the way from a certain objective, so now you need to go switch back. So now you've done something, and then you need to travel all the way across a world, turn into Diddy, go all the way back to where you were, do that, and then travel all the way back to the tag barrel to accomplish whatever next objective you happened to see or think you should do or want to tackle at that point as a different Kong. Or, if you're lucky, maybe you'd find something new to do as Diddy Kong in the same world. But as you can imagine, this sort of thing gets very, very tedious. So something that's been brought in, and that's been a common issue brought up in reviews of Donkey Kong 64. So there have been a couple of solutions proposed for how you would fix this problem. One, I don't remember if it's a mod or if it's a Game Shark code, but like one solution is just to have a tag barrel constantly like be above the Kong that you're playing as. Now, of course, that runs into the issue of, well, how do you make it, I have not played with the Game Shark. I don't have a Game Shark, and I don't remember, like I said, if it's a Game Shark thing or if it's a mod to the game. Sometimes you gotta jump higher than the tag barrel. How do you know, it hurts the game to have that above you. It, in theory, solves the problem, because then you just have access to a tag barrel wherever the heck, but then, like I said, it makes it so that you can't jump as high all of the time. Similarly, another solution that's been commonly brought up is, what's the one button on the Nintendo 64 controller that almost never gets used? That's right, the the D-pad. Yes, the L button very rarely gets used, because similarly, it's on the same, the Nintendo 64 controller had the 3 prongs. You had the control stick and start in the middle. On the right, you had A and B and the C buttons and R. Oh, the middle area underneath, there was a Z trigger. So frequently, you'd hold the middle prong in your left hand with your thumb on the stick and your left pointer finger on the Z button. And then your right hand would be on the right prong with A and B and the C buttons and R. But then, of course, no human being has 3 hands, so it can't hold the D-pad or the L button. The only game that I can think of that I own that uses the D-pad extensively is Kirby 64, and in that, you don't use the middle prong at all other than start, so instead you use the D-pad and L and A and B and the C and C buttons and R. So, as you can imagine, the D-pad does nothing in Donkey Kong 64, so it will be a great way to switch out Kongs then. Assign each Kong to a direction on the directional pad. You start as, so the one problem with that, of course, is there's 5 of them, right? So, essentially, you need to assign, like, okay, Diddy is left, Lanky is up, Tiny is right, and Chunky is down, if you're playing as Donkey Kong. And then, of course, Donkey Kong would just be, if you're playing as one of those 4 other ones, whichever direction would be the other one is how you switch back to Donkey Kong. I think that could work. I also don't think it's a very imaginative solution, and it also has the problem that, you can't switch really in the middle of action, because now you need to suddenly stop, move your thumb over to the D-pad, and pick whichever direction, right? Honestly, I don't know if I would call it an elegant solution. I don't know how exactly I would classify it. To me, honestly, that would be the option I would pick if I were to redesign Donkey Kong 64, just because it is, Occam's razor, right? Simplest solution is usually the best solution. That's how I would, like I said, that's how I would want to solve the problem. But I can understand some folks thinking it's not a really, a super creative solution, and it would, of course, undermine, there would be no need for tag barrels anymore. And like I said earlier, you remove one aspect of the game, suddenly the system might just completely fall flat. Also, then that comes with the issue that it's in some ways, you don't want to make it too convenient for the player, because then that raises the question of, why should there be 5 separate characters, right? Why can't I just, if I can just switch all of my characters on the fly using the directional pad, why can't I just have one character that can do all of the actions? So, you could do something like just, perhaps this is the other Occam's razor solution, have more tag barrels around the world. Then, of course, then you run into the question of, then how many tag barrels is too many tag barrels, right? Does it make sense to, I don't know Metroid very well, but it would be I have a save room here, and then 3 or 4 rooms over is another save room. What will be the point in that? Why would you want to have a tag barrel be so close? It's the same principle, right? So you need to strike this weird balance of having a solution that is elegant in the sense that it's that makes sense, that's intuitive, but it doesn't make things too easy for the player, but the way that it is almost makes things too inconvenient for the player, and once things start getting inconvenient for the player, then the player starts not having so much fun, right? I'm trying to think, what other sorts of ways could you do something? Maybe you could, I almost feel like the Super Mario 64 DS method might be an interesting way of tackling the problem, where, now, so let's say in a given world, right, you had a tie laying out, and that let you instantly you're playing as Tiny, and now I can transform into Donkey Kong. And, somewhere else there was, see, it's hard because all the characters don't have unique outfit things that would work for all of them. DK has the tie, Diddy could have the Nintendo hat, Tiny could have her winter hat. I don't know what you would do for Lanky or Chunky, though. That's where I'm struggling here. You maybe could do Chunky's sweater. I just don't know what you'd do for Tiny. Or, not Tiny, Lanky. But I digress. That could be an elegant solution. Just make it so that it's if the team who is designing the world noticed, there's a lot of Diddy Kong stuff here, but we have, a couple of Donkey Kong related objectives. Let's place this Donkey Kong's tie item here, so that way the player can instantly transform into Donkey Kong for this one objective. And I guess the way I would differentiate it from Super Mario 64 DS, not that the team had to worry about that at the time because Mario 64 DS was a few years out, obviously, but you could perhaps similarly to some of the bonus barrels throughout the world that have the characters' faces on them. You could have it be have the outfits be on a timer. You could also have it be where, like, you could straight up do like what they did in Super Mario 64 DS and have it be, Diddy Kong is now lanky, or Chunky is now tiny for whatever, from picking up this outfit item. But now once you get hit by an enemy, you lose that and transform back into the main Kong. I don't know. I don't want to say it would work to basically be a permanent transformation where it's more or less like a single tag barrel, if that makes sense, where it's like, okay, if you pick up this item, now you just swap out the Kongs permanently because, well, maybe, like I said, you're in an area where there's a ton of Diddy Kong objectives, like there's a ton of red bananas and red banana coins, but you just have one Donkey Kong objective or one Tiny Kong objective, so let's just have the item here, and, then you can just get that one thing done. Because I would think that permanently having that, you would either need to basically have the item switch out based on which Kong isn't active. So, like, if, like I said, if you have a Donkey Kong objective, you switch out Donkey Kong's tie for Diddy Kong's hat then. So, I don't know. I think that could be an interesting solution to it. I don't know. I'm really curious what sorts of solutions other folks would come up with. If that could be a good little bit of engagement for folks who want to send in voice messages, or on anchor.fm/THECOP, or in the form of YouTube comments or whatever other commenting related platform you may use. That could be an interesting idea. Maybe you have your own unique solution for how to solve this Donkey Kong 64 switching problem, but there's got to be something that's better than having a handful of barrels throughout the world that can that you have to backtrack between to switch your Kong. Nonetheless, I at the moment I'm running out of ideas. This could be an interesting. I might tag in an intro one day in a podcast far away, since this is the end of my summer recordings. I could say, like, hey, I should talk about this more, see if I find more solutions on, like, a Reddit post or a forum somewhere. But those are the ideas I had for now. It's not a ton of ideas, but I think they're all valuable solutions worth pursuing. But I think that covers what I wanted to say about Donkey Kong today. I hope this was a good episode. I don't know, I'm never, like, Mr. Super confident when I record something that this is going to be like, yeah, this is going to be amazing. But I hope this does well, especially if this is like I said, this is the last recording. I'll have probably just released these in the chronological order based on my recordings. So this is going to close out the Creative Outlet Gaming Birthday Extravaganza. Hopefully this will close out 2021. Maybe I'll have something extra in there. I don't know yet, considering how late this semester is going. But with that, I ask everybody to do their typical sorts of engagement things. Give me those DK64 character switching ideas that you may have for me. It's been a pleasure recording for everyone, as always. Like I said, I do this. This is the creative outlet, so I do have it as a creative outlet, just something to do, to be creative and work productively on something during my own time. So I think that covers everything I wanted to say. Again, engage, likes, potential subscriptions or hearts or whatever you like to do. I will see everybody in the next Creative Outlet podcast. It should not be a gaming birthday extravaganza episode. It will be something different. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening in or watching in. I appreciate it very much. Thank ya, and goodbye.